Hey guys, this is CK at CK Education, and today I want to talk about the topic of getting through college without any student loans, with zero debt. This is always what I tell parents and students. Parents who are not millionaires, you don't have money flowing out of your bank account, like you have so much money, you don't know what to do with it. If you're in that kind of situation, then please turn off this video. This is not for you. I've had a few parents over the years who have so much money that literally it doesn't matter what college their kids get into, they will pay for it. Oh, but that college is going to cost $55,000 a year. That's okay. We got it. Now, most parents are not like that. Most parents, $50,000 a year extra to just go to college, just go towards tuition and room and board. That's not a feasible scenario for most parents. So I think I'm talking to most parents here when I say that you would prefer to send your kids to college for 4 years with no student loans, no debt. So when they get out, I mean, it's good for them, it's good for you. You didn't have to put a lot of money in, and they're not stuck with tens of thousands of dollars of student loans when they're 22 years old and they graduate college. And I've seen both scenarios. I've seen kids graduate college with zero student loans. Awesome. They go to work and they get paid. They got their first job, and they get to keep all their money. Okay, it's not going, $400, $500, $600, $700 a month to student loans. But I've also seen other students in which they had big student loans. By the time they graduated, they had $80,000, $120,000. Kids who go to grad school, I've had kids have $450,000 in student loans. So this takes literally decades to pay off for a lot of people. So my personal opinion is that you should send your kids to college with no student loans, no debt. Is that possible? Absolutely, it is possible. Okay, so let me go over how I think you can do that. Well, you can certainly do it. Okay, number one, you do pretty well in school. When I say pretty well, if you could get 3.7 unweighted GPA or above as your cumulative average GPA for 4 years, I would say that's good, okay? And assuming you take a few AP classes, you don't have to go crazy with this, but you're taking 4 or 5 AP classes maybe total, okay? And you have like 3.7 or above unweighted GPA. Other thing, your SAT score is pretty good. Now, when I say pretty good, 1450 or above would be pretty safe. And I say that for most schools. Now, the kind of schools I'm talking about are state public schools. Okay, we're not talking about going to Boston University or Georgetown or Johns Hopkins or Duke or Northwestern here. Okay, I'm not talking about those kinds of schools. You're not likely to get a full ride there using the method that I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you are practical minded and you understand that college name and college rank really has no bearing on career success, which they don't. And you understand that a college degree is basically a college degree, and you want your kids to go to college, but you want them to graduate and be financially sound when they're 22 years old, not burdened with a lot of debt. So I would send my kids to a local public school. Now, here in the state of Maryland, primarily kids are applying to University of Maryland College Park. Kids are applying to University of Maryland, Baltimore County, UMBC. Kids are applying to St. Mary's, which is an honors college in the University of Maryland system. They're applying to Towson University. Those are the 3 or 4 main public schools that kids will apply to. Now, you have a lot of other schools around here that are a lot more expensive. Okay, you have private schools around here like Loyola or Goucher or Johns Hopkins and on, okay? But I left one out. Morgan State University is another really good public school here in Maryland. Now again, some of you might hear that and say, Morgan State, Towson, those are like ranked really low. Again, I don't care about rank, and nobody cares about rank. The only people who care about rank are the colleges themselves and the students and parents for no reason. Maybe unless it's an ego thing, but I'm not into ego, I'm into saving money. Okay, so I'm talking about how to get through college with no debt. So you apply to, I'm just giving the example of Maryland State. You apply to College Park. You apply to UMBC. You apply to Towson. You apply to Morgan State University. You apply to St. Mary's, perhaps. Okay, so maybe you apply to 4 or 5 of these places. Let's say you got 3.7 unweighted GPA, cumulative GPA. You scored about 1450, sometimes even lower, maybe even 14. But you score around there, SAT, and you took, several AP classes, and you whatever extracurriculars, just whatever. You played soccer, you played in your church, orchestra, choir, whatever is fine. Again, we're not trying to get to Ivy Leagues here. So you do that and you apply, and let's say UMBC comes back and says, we're going to give you $9,000 a year. Okay, cool. So what you do is you have your kid commute from home. Now, unless you live in over the Bay Bridge, way on the Eastern Shore somewhere, 3 hours from these schools, or you live on the other side, on the west, where it's like 2 hours or 3 hours from some of these schools. Okay, if you're living in a place where you're under an hour, you can commute to the school in under an hour, then you commute from home. And here's what happens. When you commute from home, your college expenses come down about 40%. If you don't live in a dorm and you don't eat their food and you don't have their meal plan, your cost just came down by almost a half. Okay, so now you're just dealing with the tuition and books and stuff. And for state universities, when you get in-state tuition, it's not that much. So if you get a $9,000 scholarship, let's say from UMBC, or you get a $8,000 scholarship from Towson or something like that, or I had kids like 1350 SAT, 3.5 GPA, get a full ride to Morgan State University. How can you give that up? So you go to college, and let's say it only costs you $3,000 a year to go to college, because most of it is you got a little scholarship, and it doesn't cost that much anyway because you're going from home. The student himself or herself can work part-time and make that much a year. There's no reason whatsoever to go into debt to get student loans if it only costs $3,000 a year, or even $5,000 a year. If college only costs $5,000 a year out of pocket, most parents can pay that. Okay, and then I recommend that students should work anyway. So students should work in college, and so they should work. And they work part-time, whether it's on campus or off campus. They work at a Starbucks or a Target. I don't care. They're working, and they can make that in a year. So that is an easy way to do it. Okay. Now I'm going to give you one more unconventional way of paying for college and paying very little for college. This is going to appeal to a small minority of you, but if you believe, as I do, that a college ranking, college name is really not important, and it absolutely is not. Okay, and I say this from the perspective of someone who went to college and who went to grad school and who worked as a professional engineer for many years and a consultant. I was in management and recruiting. I was in corporate America for a long time, and I can tell you that nobody cares about what college you went to, what the ranking was, or what your GPA was once you get out there. It all depends on how good you are at what you do. Okay, so having said that, there are online colleges right now that cost like $10,000 for 4 years. All 4 years, $10,000. So what is that? About $2,500 a year. That's just flat $2,500 a year. Okay. And you can go to college and get your bachelor's of science or bachelor's of arts, BA or BS 4-year degree, just like any other school, accredited, and you can do it from home. And a lot of working professionals do this, but high school grads can do this as well. Who can't pay $2,500 a year for college? Anyone watching this video, 99% of you, over 99% of you can pay $2,500 a year for your kids' college. And again, the kids themselves can work part-time and make this money. So I give you 2 ways that kids could go to college and not incur any debt, no student loans. They could go there and graduate with 0 student loans. So those are the 2 ways, and I hope that you will seriously consider those 2 methods, especially the first method, because I know the online college doesn't appeal to most people, and that's fine. I have no problem with it, but some people, they don't want to do it. That's fine. But you want to go send your kids to traditional college and still no debt. I just told you. So you go to you do pretty well in school, pretty well in your SAT, and you apply to all the state schools in your state, and um, then you commute from home. Should cost you no money. Okay, it should cost you no debt. It'll cost you a little bit of money. You should have zero debt if you do it that way. So I hope that helps. And until my next video, I hope you stay well.